Hello, my name is Sally Furman. I'm Director of Academic Support Programs, and I want to welcome you to our session called Building a Bearable Schedule. I think the information I can share with you will help you feel better prepared to have a really good conversation with your academic advisor when you meet to select your fall classes. This is a picture of a Baylor student who graduated from Baylor in the class of 1900, 120 years ago. Now, I happen to know that this Baylor student had flaming red hair and a type A disposition to match. And the reason I know this is my grandfather, D.K. Martin. When he died at the age of 87, he was still so passionate about his Baylor experience that he had saved his textbooks from Baylor. And it's been fascinating to look back at his academic records even to see what kind of student he was. This is his transcript from his first year at Baylor, which was in the fall of 1898. You can see that it was a very classical curriculum. You can see his grades, but look at the courses that he was taking. In his freshman year at Baylor, he was taking Latin, German, and Spanish all at the same time, which I don't think will happen to you in your first semester. I can look at his grades and see that he struggled a little bit in biology, but he hung in there, probably got some tutoring help from another student, and gradually brought that grade up. Some things never change, and a challenging biology course has been and probably always will be a very challenging way to have to learn and very complex material. I want to give you my contact information. Our office is on the west wing in the basement level of the Sid Richardson building. And you see there the phone number that rings directly to my office, 254-710-1410. I'd like to help you learn to speak a little Baylor so that you'll know some terminology to use and understand some of the things that your advisor will tell you. First of all, your degree. Your degree reveals the level of education that you have had. A Bachelor of Arts degree, then a more advanced degree is the master's degree, and then the doctoral degree. Associated as a requirement on every degree is a major. And the major and your degree are going to be associated with a particular school or college in the Baylor system. So, for example, if you're thinking about majoring in all the aspects of business, you would be earning a Bachelor of Business Administration degree, and your major would be something like finance, accounting, management, things like that. Your major, then, is the area in which you have your most complex courses and the largest number of courses. It is your major area of concentration of your college work. We use the word hours to designate credit earned for completing courses. And so you may have used a similar term in high school. But you will find that certain number of hours are required for different majors. Overall, it takes 124 earned hours to graduate from Baylor. Now, here's the way you can determine some of the code used for designating courses. Baylor uses mostly 3 letters as a prefix to designate the course, department, and content. So biology is BIO. Most of the time you can figure this out for yourself. ENG, English. FDM is film and digital media. So some of these prefixes may be a little bit puzzling at first, but you'll learn it rapidly. LF stands for Lifetime Fitness, and this, by the way, is the course name and number for a physical activity course, this being bowling. Now, the numbers, there are 4 digits. The first number designates freshman level courses, 2,000 level courses, or sophomore level, 3,000 junior, and 4,000 senior. So you will be taking 1,000 level courses in your freshman entry into Baylor. The second number indicates hours of credit. Not necessarily the number of hours you will be in the classroom each week, but the hours of credit. Sometimes a course like a 4-hour course in particular, like you see here with a Biology 1405, there's a lab that is included within the course, so you just get 1 grade for the course and the lab together. And even though it says 4, you get 4 hours of credit, but you're in class probably 6 to 7 hours a week with the class and the lab. You can look at LF 1124 and see that there in that second number that there's 1 hour of credit, but the Lifetime Fitness courses actually require you to be in class 3 hours a week. So as you work with your advisor, you'll want to be sure that you can understand exactly how many hours a week and where those hours, classroom hours, will fall as you put together your classroom schedule, your class schedule. We use the word section to designate a specific class under a course. So a section would be a specific day, time, room, and teacher for each class meeting of a particular course. So if your advisor says, oh, there are 2 sections still available for English 1302, that your advisor is saying there are possibly 2 different times, but 2 distinct classes under that course name that you can choose from. For your course load, we add up the hours valued of each of your courses. So it takes 12 hours, 12 credit hours to be a full-time student. However, if you want to graduate in 4 years, you're going to need to take 15 to 16 hours as your course load for the regular terms, and you will probably need to take at least 1 summer or 2 in order to graduate in 4 years. You'll find on your schedule, and you'll see as you talk with your advisor, that we designate days of the week, MWF, for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, Thursday classes are designated T for Tuesday, or at Baylor is for Thursday. So if you have a course or a lab that meets TR, you know that class or lab is meeting Tuesday, Thursday. I want to alert you up front to the numerous progression requirements that Baylor has for various majors and degrees. These are benchmark requirements. They could be hours, GPA, certain courses, limitations on certain things that you have to meet in order to make progress in a major. And these requirements make it even more critical that you be successful in the first time that you take a course. Here's some examples of progression requirements. Some courses require a specific grade before you can move on. For example, there's a course in film and digital media. If that is your anticipated major, that you have to make at least a B in that particular course before you're allowed to continue. The business school will require at least a C in a number of courses before that you will be permitted to remain in a particular major or pre-major. There could even be a required GPA, either in your major or overall. The business school, again, for example, requires a 3.0 GPA at the end of the first year before you can progress to the next level of courses in pursuit of a Bachelor of Business Administration degree. There will be limitations on the number of D's or F's you can have in a major, the number of times you can attempt a course. There'll be limitations on whether or not you can withdraw during a course during the semester. A withdrawal just means that you're not going to complete that course in that semester, and there are limitations on how many times you can do that. Here are a few more progression requirements. There could be a certain number of hours you have to complete it, but within a specified time. There could be limitations on the number of courses that you have to repeat. And if your progression requirements are not met, you will be required to change your major by the university. So again, being successful in every course the first time you take that course is more important than ever. But there are a lot of resources that Baylor already has in place, proven ways to help yourself as you increase your skill academically, as you improve your self-management skills, as you use proven strategies to help you learn. And these are some of the resources available to you. My staff and I teach sections of a course called Strategic Learning for College Academics, STL 1200. And we have certain sections of this class available and designed for freshmen. In this course, we can help you learn how to make the transition to the college classroom, and it can help you learn more advanced learning techniques and the self-management skills that you will absolutely need in learning how to prioritize your time, how to organize your time, how to organize your coursework. So you're welcome to consider adding this 2-hour course that's graded, so it does calculate into your GPA, into your fall schedule. Here's some other resources that we offer. We offer free tutoring in all of the most challenging courses in the Baylor curriculum. Tutoring is free at Baylor. You can access tutoring in a number of different ways with a considerable number of options for online tutoring or group tutoring, which are some discussion groups related to content in a course. So these are led by our trained tutors, and they've had the course and been successful, and they know what you're going to have to learn and how to learn it in order to be successful yourself in a particular course. Another resource really that is course specific and even professor specific is supplemental instruction, or SI. The SI leader is trained in collaborative or group learning. The leader attends the class just like you do, but they have already had the class and earned an A. So they too know how to integrate what to study with how to study. and we'll have at least one, possibly two, collaborative or group learning sessions a week that will help you master the material, discuss it, take practice tests, and explore a variety of learning tools for the content that a specific professor will expect you to master in that course. We also offer academic consultations where we can confer with a student and help you as a student adjust your study techniques, plan a weekly study calendar, prepare for a test, know how to recover from a test, and our staff conducts these sessions. And finally, we have trained grad students who meet with individual students once a week as a mentor. So you have a more experienced student guiding the learning and the self-management of a less experienced student. They are not tutors, but they can help their mentees adjust to the college classroom and the demands of Baylor academics. Now let's think a little bit about what it would be like to live your schedule. As you talk with your advisor, you definitely need to be getting some answers to certain questions that can help you make good choices. Now, consider the class day and time if you have a choice of several sections of a particular course. Sometimes that can make a difference, some students feel, in how they perform in a course. For example, some students feel like they prefer to take a numbers course, like a math course or a chemistry course, on Tuesday, Thursday, if they have a choice, feeling that the longer class time, a Tuesday, Thursday class meets twice a week for an hour and 15 minutes. And so there's a little bit longer time for questions to occur, for the instructor to make more explanation, to use more examples. Other students feel like they would do better in a math class that meets for 50 minutes, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, feeling that they do better if they meet to discuss and learn math with their professor 3 times a week, more frequently than in a Tuesday, Thursday section. Also think about the time of day. When are you your best? Are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon person? If you have a choice, and you may not have a choice, but if you do have a choice, think about an 8 o'clock class. If you think already that you're not going to be able to get up in time to get to an 8 o'clock class, remember there's going to be no one there telling you when that alarm clock goes off that you have to get up and go to class. If you feel that's something you cannot manage, then if you have a choice, you should take a class at another time. Secondly, think about your degree or major. If you are uncertain, that is okay. You just need to communicate with your advisor so that your advisor knows some of the things that you're thinking about. That way, your advisor can help you select courses that are flexible, that will work in more than one degree or major. One example of a course you could take that would be very flexible would be Religion 1310, called Christian Scriptures. This course is required for almost everybody at Baylor in their degree. Now, I want to caution you, some of you that have been in Sunday school or church school for a long time may think, oh, this will be an easy course for me. This will be a snap. I won't even have to study because I've already had all this material. Let me warn you, this course, if you take it for granted, you will not have a good outcome in that course if you have that sort of attitude. This is not a how to be a Baptist class. It's not How to Live Your Life class. This is a scholarly look at the Christian scriptures, and so you will have a lot of material in this scholarly look that functions a lot like a history class, because the Hebrews interpreted or understood who God was and what God was like through the events of their history. But if you take that for granted, then you're not going to understand or be able to master the material that will be entirely new for you in this course. If you need balance in your schedule, talk with your advisor. Be sure you understand which courses are going to be the heavier reading, the most challenging content. For example, a course like Psychology 1305 or the Intro Biology course 1305 are very, very challenging courses. And if you take your biology and chemistry and a math, as you may be recommended to do by your advisor, you might want to ask your advisor if there's a course that you could take that would be less complex and less demanding to give you some balance in your schedule. Think about lunch as you're scheduling if you are a lunch person, or think about if you need breaks in between classes. Thinking about Tuesday, Thursday classes, for example, classes meet at 8, 9:30, 11, 12:30, and 2. Well, let's say that in talking with your advisor, you have selected a 9:30 class and an 11, and then your advisor says, well, there is a section open at 12:30, and you see you don't have another class there. You could say, okay, let's put another class there. But if you think about the time that you would be in class, you would be in class from 9:30 until 2 o'clock without a break. So some students feel that they can't maintain concentration that long. If so, tell your advisor. You may want 2 classes in a row if you have a choice, and then take a break. It could be a lunch break or it could be a break in the day, and then do another class. So work with your advisor on scheduling your time as well as your courses. We've already mentioned that to graduate in 4 years, you'll need to take 15 to 16 hours each semester. There is no requirement that you take that many hours, but you need to know up front that that's the course load you will have to have in order to graduate in 4 years. Going to class is not even a question. I can tell you from many, many years of experience, I too am a Baylor graduate. I graduated with a major in 1968 with a double major in English and biology, and began working professionally at Baylor in this department in 1992. And I can tell you from all those years of experience that a student that makes a D or an F in a class, it's not because they don't understand the material. More than likely, it's because their class attendance has been not optimum. You have to go to class to get the material. There's nothing that replaces your having been in class to hear the professor explain the material, to understand what's being emphasized and what you are expected to learn. And most professors, particularly in freshman level courses, will take attendance, and there are limits on how many classes you miss and can still be eligible to pass the class. So this is not even a question. You must go to class to be successful at Baylor. And the last question is, should you use resources? Should you take advantage of the resources that Baylor has to support your learning? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. You would be surprised at how many top students A students, pre-med students with A's, continue to do SI and tutoring because they want to hold on to that A and they really want to learn the material. A top student will take advantage of every resource offered. So, here are my tips for you to be successful at Baylor. Read your assignments before you go to class. When the teacher makes a reading assignment, the teacher may say, I want you to read 45 pages of the next chapter before class. The temptation is to put that off, but if you will read that material before you go to class, you'll take much better lecture notes. You'll understand the material better when the professor explains certain concepts. You'll have an idea of the terminology, of the kinds of ideas that are going to be presented in the material, and you'll be ahead in learning the material if you complete that reading assignment before class. Next, if you are absent, please don't go to the professor and say, Miss Furman, I'm so sorry I missed class on Monday. Did we do anything important? Well, yes. Or don't say, did I miss anything? Well, yes, you missed an entire hour of instruction. You will be responsible for getting the notes and finding out the assignment or any due dates that were changed by talking to one of your classmates. You will not get the material. The teacher will not reteach the material for you when you have missed a class. Finally, you're going to need to study at least 6 to 9 hours each week for each class. The rule of thumb for study at the college level is 2 hours of study outside of class for a moderately difficult class, let's say like Sociology 1305, for every hour in class. So if you've got a class that meets 3 times a week, then you're going to need to study at least 6 hours a week for that class. For a very challenging class like biology, chemistry, a math class, history, even religion 1310, you may need to study at least 3 hours outside of class for each hour in class. And so 6 to 9 weeks may be more than you studied for all of your classes in a week for high school. But in college, to complete the reading, to do practice problems, to work with the material, to make study tools, to amplify your notes, that is going to take a lot of time and effort. You can be successful at Baylor, but you're going to have to be willing to commit the time and make the effort. Finally, these suggestions, you have to realize that homework may be assigned, but it may not be collected and it may not receive a grade. But you need to complete your homework anyway. The homework is given to give you opportunities to really work with the material, to understand it from different perspectives. And if you don't do it, the professor will know when he grades your test that you have not really mastered the information. So always complete every assignment a professor gives, even if it's not collected or graded. In high school, about 80% of the material that you might be responsible for on a test is explored in the classroom by the teacher, and you're only responsible for learning maybe 20% on your own. But in high school, that percentage flips. You'll get about 20% of what you are expected to learn of course material in the classroom, and 80% of your learning will be on your own. So there is a great deal more responsibility on the learner, on you as a student, for your learning in college. And finally, here are the top 3 things that you can do. These are easy strategies, but they are the top strategies based in the latest brain research that can help you succeed. First, space out your learning. That means study for about 45 to 50 minutes at a time and then take a 10-minute break. That 10-minute break is not only a reward for your having stayed on task, but it's critical for the brain to continue working with the material, processing it, moving it out of short-term into long-term memory. So spacing out your learning with breaks during the day is extremely important. But that same principle holds across days. For example, you will not be able to master material the night before a test. You will need to study 4 to 5, maybe even 6 days to prepare for a test. But spacing it out over those days is a very, very effective learning technique. Second, mix it up. Don't study one course for hour after hour after hour. Intermix your courses, like do your biology, then take a break, and then for the next 45 minutes, do a reading course like history, and then take a break. And when you can come back, do a different course. You want to use different areas of your brain in the times that you're studying, because fatigue can set in with your concentration, focus, and actually the processing of the brain. And finally, practice retrieving the information. Think of a test as an academic performance. You practice for every other kind of performance, whether it's singing, whether it's band, whether it's a sport. And so practice retrieving the information. That can help you understand if you're still not clear on certain things about the material, so you can study it again. But also, brain science tells us that the very act of trying to recall information actually helps you remember it. The brain reconstructs the memory trace when you try to recall information. So the stronger the memory trace, the better your recall of the information. The better your recall, the better your grade on the test. Finally, this is the Baylor Bear. And I just want to say that I hope that the beginning of your journey at Baylor will help you be as passionate about that journey as was D.K. Martin, Baylor class of 1900. Sic 'em Bears!